Hey guys, Youngblood with you to talk about another company and their history in our verse, and that's going to be Argo Astronautics. Back on Earth in 2243, there was the third largest continuous monorail system that spanned all the way from Barrow, Alaska, all the way down to Buenos Aires in Chile. And this rail was used for just transporting massive amounts of freight every single day. The problem with this line was that it was rapidly aging, which was resulting in delays, which obviously meant shortages for the end user and higher cost for operators. Efforts were made to try and get funding to fix up the line. However, since it went through so many different governmentally owned bodies, it was going to be really incredibly complicated to get the work done. Another factor was that suborbital transports were becoming a lot more prominent for hauling goods around the world, as well as decision makers tending to focus away from Earth based on our colonization of Mars and the interest discovered by the new RSI quantum drives. People really wanted to branch out and kind of focus away from our real homeworld. It seemed that improving this train was less of a priority, and it was really destined to fall into ruin, until a young conductor named Elena Redmond stepped up. Elena grew up on the Trans Am line, spending her time with her mother, who was a manager on board one of these trains. And there was a certain level of fascination with how people still relied so heavily on what seemed almost like an archaic technology to bring them the goods that they needed on a daily basis from such vast distances away. Once she reached adulthood, she decided that she was going to follow her heart and in her mother's footsteps by working on the Trans Am line as well. And while working on the line, it was constantly delayed as the train had to make emergency stops to fix the track where the coils would come out of line and cause, just dangerous vibrations that could have led to a derailment. Now, this patching and repairing process was very, very timely, and it was difficult, and it meant big financial hits based on every single stop they had to make. And one day on her route, the train ended up having to stop for repairs, and she noticed that the piece of metal that they had actually hit was bent into almost a perfect shape, that where it would have actually repaired the track based on the pressure from the train. Now, Elena was intrigued by this and started to work up some simulations, and what she had in the end of the day was pretty promising. So she took all of her 2-week vacation at once. She'd basically been saving it up, cashed it all in, and went out to an old, salvage yard, or kind of a stockyard, I guess, for the trains, and was able to test this technology on a retired engine. And what resulted was something new and exciting. She quit her job and founded Argo Technologies, which sold one product, an automated monotrack repair system that you equip on the front car of the train that was able to actually help fix the track as it went, meaning less time lost, and with repairs being made constantly, the future of the Trans Am line was destined to continue. And this actually turned out to be the case for pretty much every single major train line in the world, as it was too good not to equip on these engines and help repair the lines just through daily use. Now, Argo spent the next couple of decades rolling out a variety of new products, ranging from faster cargo latches, passenger management systems, and vibratory rechargers, among other tech. And this success really meant that they were able to start to acquire other companies to help them branch out. And they picked up Todiro Manufacture, and the company moved from Argo Tech to Argo Transportation with the introduction of their first actual train cars. These cars were made so well that they quickly became the new leader in the industry space. And wanting to continue to diversify, Argo jumped into the space age to really try and capture on the passion that we had for expansion. And on Mars, there was a real problem with their public transportation system. So they were in almost like a request for proposal stage. Elena came in, and even though they had no experience in this space, her passion meant that they were sold on her ability to really fulfill the need, and Argo won out on that contract. Now, they developed what was known as a radial network transit hub that was put into place on Mars. Now, Elena actually didn't make it to see this. She died prior to its completion. However, the system that they put into place was completed just so well, and it was so widely recognized as one of the more elegant solutions to mass transit, and serves as almost an homage to Elena. And that success on Mars ended up leading to contracts on Terra and Angeli, but they weren't going to stop there. While reviewing delays that were impacting their cargo trains, they realized that the biggest problem was not with their rails, but was actually with the transfers at ports. And it ended up just taking too long to offload the goods, and it meant that there was traffic it created in the surrounding areas when these events were happening. So instead of just contracting the work out, Argo worked on a solution to transfer the goods themselves in a more efficient manner. Argo ended up purchasing a struggling shuttle company named Teleland Shipworks and began taking their recreational vehicles and turning them into utility crafts that would then move the storage containers from the trains directly into the off-planet haulers. The lock and latch technology that Elena had developed just decades ago integrated perfectly into this platform, and the process became quick and actually pretty slick. Now, the success of these new crafts quickly drew attention, and people really started to beginning to retrofit these for their own purposes. And Argo, not being one to sit back on their laurels, saw the opportunity to really begin customizing these vehicles into different variants, including the multi-purpose utility vehicle that we now have in-game, otherwise known as the MPUV. Now, initially, there was only going to be a cargo variant available, but quickly we began to see other personnel carriers, recovery pods, and repair modules all coming to fruition. The versatility of the platform meant that the only real restricting factor was having the idea, and then if somebody had the idea, they could make it work. And with space now being a part of their territory, Argo changed their name from Transportation to Astronautics in 2665. And the company is more a part of the verse than just about any others, because it's kind of like trucks or trains today. You wouldn't even be able to enjoy your morning coffee without Argo being involved in some way. So that's the basic history of Argo Astronautics. If you guys have any questions about this, please ask. Otherwise, I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for a whole lot more content coming soon. Have a wonderful day, and take care.